By the time I heard those 7 words through my own bedroom wall, it was already too late to pretend I didn't know. He'll never find out. He's too trusting. My wife's voice, clear as glass, followed by laughter I didn't recognize. I stood there in the hallway of my own home, holding a glass of water, and felt 32 years of marriage collapse in 7 seconds. My name is Robert. I'm 58 years old. I've been married to Linda since I was 26. We built a life together, raised 2 daughters, bought a house in the suburbs. I worked as a regional manager for a logistics company. She was a part-time bookkeeper, handled our finances, managed the household. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We had routines, Friday date nights, Sunday breakfasts, anniversaries at the same Italian restaurant where I proposed. I thought we were happy. I thought I knew her. It was a Tuesday night. I'd come home early from a business trip. Flight got moved up. I texted Linda, but she didn't respond. I figured she was asleep. The house was dark when I pulled into the driveway. Her car was there. So was another one I didn't recognize, a black sedan, new. I didn't think much of it. Maybe a friend visiting, maybe one of the girls stopped by. I let myself in quietly, didn't want to wake anyone. That's when I heard voices upstairs. At first, I thought it was the TV, but as I climbed the stairs, I realized they were coming from our bedroom. Linda's voice and a man's. I stopped 3 steps from the top. He'll never find out. He's too trusting. Then laughter, his, deep, comfortable. You've got him wrapped around your finger, he said. I always have, she replied. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just stood there, glass in hand, listening to my wife talk about me like I was a fool. They kept talking. I caught pieces. The account transfers go through Friday. He doesn't even check the statements. Once the house sells were set. Then I heard the sound I'll never forget. The bed frame creaking. Her laughing. I walked back downstairs, set the glass on the counter, grabbed my keys, and left. I didn't slam the door, I didn't yell, I didn't announce myself. I just drove. I checked into a hotel 20 minutes away, sat on the edge of the bed, stared at the wall. My hands were shaking, not from anger, from the realization. This wasn't new. This wasn't a mistake. This was planned. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Then, I made 3 calls. First, to my bank. I asked for copies of every transaction from our joint accounts over the last 2 years. Second, to a lawyer. Not one we knew, someone 2 towns over, someone Linda would never think to check. Third, to a private investigator. I didn't explain much, just gave him her name, her car, and the address of our home. Then, I waited. Linda texted me around noon. "Where are you? I thought you were coming home last night." I replied, "Flight got delayed. I'll be back tonight." She sent back a heart emoji. I stared at it for a long time. The bank records arrived by email that afternoon. I went through them line by line. Transfers I didn't recognize, withdrawals I didn't authorize, payments to credit cards I didn't know existed. Over 18 months, she'd moved nearly $90,000 out of our joint savings and into accounts I'd never seen. She'd been signing my name, forging documents, using my login credentials, and I never noticed. Because I trusted her. The investigator called 2 days later. "You're going to want to sit down for this." He'd followed her, photographed her, tracked her routines. The man's name was Colin, 43, divorced, real estate agent. They'd been meeting for over a year. Lunches, hotel rooms, weekend trips while I was traveling for work. But it wasn't just an affair. They were planning to leave, together. He'd already helped her list our house with a different agency under a corporate shell. The sale was set to close in 3 weeks. She was going to take the money, file for divorce, and disappear before I even knew what happened. The investigator sent me everything. Photos, texts, bank transfers between her and Colin, emails discussing the timeline. I sat in that hotel room and read every single word. I didn't cry. I didn't break anything. I just got to work. First, I moved my paycheck to a new account,
one she didn't have access to. Then I froze our joint accounts, called the bank, explained there was suspected fraud, requested an investigation. I contacted the real estate agency handling the house sale, explained I was a co-owner and I had not consented to the listing. They pulled it immediately. I filed a police report for identity theft and fraud. Then I went to see my lawyer. "She's been systematically draining your assets," he said. "This isn't a marital dispute. This is financial elder abuse and fraud." I'm 58. Legally, that qualified. We filed for an emergency restraining order, froze all joint assets, submitted the evidence to the district attorney's office. Then we waited for her to make the next move. She called me that Friday night, angry. "What the hell did you do, Robert?" I stayed calm. "What are you talking about?" "The accounts are frozen. The house sale fell through. What did you do?" I protected myself. Silence. "From what?" "From you." She hung up. The next day, she tried to come home. I'd changed the locks. She stood on the porch, pounding on the door, screaming, "You can't do this! This is my house too!" I opened the door, handed her an envelope. Inside were copies, all of it. The transfers, the texts, the photos, the forged signatures. She stared at the papers. Her face went white. "Robert, I can explain." "No," I said. "You can't." I closed the door.
She hired a lawyer, tried to fight it, claimed I was controlling, that she had every right to access our money, that I was financially abusing her. But the evidence was clear. She'd forged my signature. She'd stolen $90,000. She'd committed fraud. Her lawyer dropped her after 2 weeks. Colin tried to distance himself, claimed he didn't know she was still married, said she told him I was barely in the picture. The investigators' records proved otherwise. He lost his real estate license. His broker terminated him. His ex-wife used the evidence in their custody case. He hasn't worked since. Linda was charged with fraud, identity theft, and forgery. She pled guilty. Part of the plea deal required her to pay restitution. She doesn't have it. She's working part-time at a department store now, trying to make payments. The divorce was finalized 4 months ago. I kept the house, the retirement accounts, everything we built. She got nothing. My daughters don't speak to her anymore. Not because I asked them not to. I never said a word against her. They just saw the evidence, read the texts, understood what she was planning to do. They made their own choice. I'm still in the house, still working, still living, but it's different now. I don't trust easily anymore. I check my accounts every day. I don't share passwords. I don't assume anyone has my best interests at heart. Some people say I'm bitter. Maybe I am. But I'm not broke. I'm not homeless. I'm not the fool she thought I was. Here's what I learned. Trust isn't weakness, but blind trust is. The people closest to you have the most access to your money, your home, your peace of mind. And sometimes the person sleeping next to you is the one planning your destruction. You can love someone with everything you have and still mean nothing to them. Pay attention, ask questions, verify everything. Because by the time you overhear the truth, the damage is already done. So let me ask you this. How well do you really know the people you trust with everything? And if you found out tomorrow that it was all a lie, would you have the strength to walk away? Or would you pretend you never heard it?